Hey, my village, it's your Coach Mo again. So, one of the questions I got recently when I was talking about co-parenting, I posted a video about co-parenting, I think yesterday, and someone asked me, like, what was my biggest challenge with being able to co-parent? And I'm gonna tell you, co-parenting is not easy. So I'm not telling you that, oh, it's gonna be an easy journey, because it is a journey, and it do take a lot of work. It take a lot of self-discipline. It take a lot of patience. Because in the beginning, it wasn't all smooth sailing with me and my son dad when it came to co-parenting. I think we started co-parenting because he was in the military, so he was deployed my whole pregnancy, and then he was deployed when I gave birth. I had to fly to him when my son was 3 months for him to meet my son for the first time once he got back from deployment, and once I got cleared to travel with my son. So he met him at 3 months, and people were like, how are you guys going to co-parent when I was living in California, which is where we're both from and where my son was born, and he was stationed in Mississippi. And we were just like, we just gonna have to figure it out and co-parent from a distance. He had to co-parent from a distance with all his kids. And he has 4 kids, and they were all in 4 different states. So we all started in California, and then everybody branched out to other states. But we were able to just, like, when he was deployed and like in Japan, it's hours ahead of us, I would have to sacrifice sleep and be up in the middle of the night. Because the first 2 years of my son's life, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was focusing on school. I started a business. I went to school for my pharmacy tech license, and I was just focusing on, like, not missing those milestones, since I didn't want neither one of us to be away from my child. So I was there with him for about 2.5 years before I went back to work. So I would record videos to keep him involved in that process of my son developing. So I caught the first crawl on the video, the first steps when he first started walking and talking and stuff. I record pretty much everything. I have literally in my phone, because I had always had an iPhone since my son was born, I have literally like 17,000 photos and like videos in my phone, because I would back it up to the cloud, send it to his dad in Japan so that he could see, or FaceTime while he's on his break. It could be 3 in the morning my time. I'm gonna get up and answer the phone, and I'm gonna FaceTime so he could see his son, because my son was a night owl. He would be up all night and then sleep all day. So my schedule was just off. So we would be up late chatting with him and his buddies overseas, and having like live conversations or being on social media together. But whatever way we was able to communicate, through email, I'll send pictures, videos, so he didn't feel like he missed out on the whole process of seeing his son grow and develop. And then when my son got a school age, I would send him to his dad. Like, before he was 5, before he started kindergarten, he went with his dad for a couple of weeks. So I sent him with baby mama number 4 to Mississippi to stay out there for a couple of weeks when he was 5 years old. That's when we started doing the long distance, like, visitation, where he would fly out there, and my son started doing unaccompanied minor flying from there on out. And then, like, 1st grade, I homeschooled him for like 4 or 5 years, where he would be able to go when his dad was in Florida. He would go to Florida for a whole month and be with his dad. So we worked it out by homeschooling. When I had him, I homeschooled him. When he had him, he homeschooled. But we homeschooled so that he can be able to go back and forth whenever he felt like it and wanted to go live with his dad for a little while. He'll go for a whole month or whatever, or weeks. But that's how it worked. That's how I was able to co-parent. But before we were able to get to that point, we both had to heal, because I didn't always start off with sending my son to him and trusting him with my son by himself. Because it was always different girls he lived with, and I wasn't okay. I was that baby mom that used to be like, I don't want no females around my kid, because I didn't have men around him. And I respected him in that aspect, but I'm like, respect me as your child mother when I say I don't want these randoms, because they're never long term. I don't want these randoms around my kid. And the first random was baby mama number 4. That was the first person that was around my kid and he was living with. And it was to the point where we communicated very well. It's just we didn't really trust each other. So we would meet at the train station, like a park and ride, to exchange my son. He didn't know where I live. I didn't know where he lived. I didn't want him to have my address. It was one of those things. It wasn't like an unsafe thing, but I'm like, you be having all this drama with these females. I don't want nobody to know where I live. So this is how we had our plans set up. It wasn't until like a few years ago that we knew each other's address, and I could pull up at his house, he could pull up at my house. Plus, he was running from child support, so he didn't want nobody to know his address, so we couldn't send nothing for child support. But I gave up on child support a long time ago. I'm like, my son is 15, and I ain't never got child support, so it ain't gonna happen. So, and the military would not help me. So I was just like, I gave up on child support a long time ago. So once I dropped the child support case, then I always had an address, which is so crazy. But that's a whole nother story. But, it was one of those things where we both had to heal, because we couldn't even, like, still to this day, I think we do follow each other on some social media platforms, but I only have business accounts and not personal. So he don't be wanting to see all the business stuff, but we don't really follow each other on social media, because in the beginning of our co-parenting process, when he was stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi, which is not too far from New Orleans, I used to be like, I don't get child support. You're not helping me financially with my kid. He needs stuff. I'm doing it by myself. And I used to be mad because every time I asked him for something, like told him, oh, your son needs diapers or formula or something, I need your help, he would always be like, oh, I don't have it. I don't have no money to help you. But then same time, hours later, I'll see him party in New Orleans with his Navy friends. And I'm like, oh, so, and I'll blast him on social media. Oh, you got money to party, but you ain't got no money to help me with your kid. So he blocked me on all social media because I used to put him on blast. But that's when I used to be mad. Like, why I got to be the responsible one? Why I always got to be the one to take care of everything? Then I just got over it and just accepted that this is just what it's going to be. He can't help everybody. He can't take care of everybody. And that's just what it's going to be. So I used to really be like that. I had to heal and just be like, okay, I'm okay with not getting financial help, but my son still needs a relationship with his dad. And that's where a lot of, I'm going to say moms, because the men, they don't really get stuck with the responsibility of raising a child by themselves. But so I say the mom, because the mom do get stuck with resenting the father or being mad or holding the child against being able to see their parent, the other parent, because of financial aspect. So like when I coach parents, I'm like, I know you need help. I know it's a struggle. I know it's hard. I know the financial part is a big part, because it's not free to raise a kid, period. But don't let that be the reason why your child has to be neglected and not be able to see the other parent, because that money don't have nothing to do with the child having a relationship with the other parent. They can suck at financially being responsible for their child, but they can also be a great parent to that child, even though they're not a good responsible parent financially. They're two different things. Finances and relationship are two different things. So I had to learn how to separate those things and say, I'm not going to damage my child and make him feel and develop abandonment issues because of my idea of what a father should be, or a good parent should be, because that has nothing to do with my child having a relationship with his dad and me saving my child from developing mental health issues when it comes to feeling like he's abandoned, because I won't let him. He's not going to resent me when he get older. He know mommy made me let me have a relationship with my dad no matter what. But it took me doing some healing, going to therapy, working on myself to be okay with my expectations not being met as far as who I wanted to have a child with, because at the end of the day, it was both our decision, and we both made that decision to do what we did to have a baby. And I can't, it's not up to me to punish it. So when I got to the point where I'm like, that's between you and God. How you treat your kids is between you and God, but I'm not gonna play a part and add it on to the destruction. So that's how I was able to be able to co-parent, is by healing and taking me out of the situation and thinking about my child first. What would my child need? How would this affect him later on? Even though there's some things I didn't care for him to see, be going to his dad's house and meeting different women and stuff like that, but then I had to get over that, because I'm like, that ain't none of my business. Because he didn't question me about what I do at my house, even though I didn't do anything, because I didn't date for 12 years of my son's life. And then when I did date, like up until last year, I had dated for like 3 years. One person, that was the only person like that was there, but we didn't live together. I still don't bring no man in my house to live with me. Even though my son's 15, I still feel like, you ain't my husband, you ain't living with me. And that's just my personal morals and values. We ain't living together if I ain't got no ring and you ain't my husband. Because my son pretty much right now is the man of the house, and that's the only man that's gonna be in my house, because I'm committed to him for life as his mom. But that was one of the challenges, getting over not getting any financial help, but getting free time, like him going with his dad for the weekends. When we do live in the same state, he do get him every weekend. And like now, last weekend, he called me like, hey, because we went out of town like 2 weekends in a row, so they didn't see each other for about 3 weeks. So he was like, oh, are y'all busy, or y'all got plans this weekend? I'm like, you don't gotta call, just come get him. That's the type of relationship we have now. And your son got a phone, you don't gotta call me, come pick him up. I am not gonna turn down having some free time, especially this weekend. It's my birthday tomorrow, so it's my birthday weekend. Come get your son. Have a nice day, and if you need anything, let me know. But yeah, that was one of the challenges, is being mad that I didn't have financial help when I always had to figure things out, and he didn't. And he was living his best life out loud, and the rest of us over here struggling trying to take care of his kids. That was the only thing, like the biggest obstacle that I had to get over, because I used to be real bitter about it. But a lot of mothers are. A lot of mothers are like, you get to go and figure it out and figure out life, and we didn't have that opportunity. So a lot of mothers, that is a struggle that they resent the father for, because they're like, you got free time and I don't. I got to figure out daycare, how to feed them, clothe them, getting them to and from school, all that stuff, and you just at home sleep, waking up whenever you feel like it. You don't got to arrange stuff just to be able to leave the house. Like, that is something I deal with a lot of my clients. They be like, he did. I be like, stop worrying about him. That ain't none of your business. Stop worrying about him. That's between him and God. He gonna get his. And he's definitely had some life hit him in the face a couple of times. So I be like, I don't got to do it. God gonna do it for me. So once I started having faith, going back to church, healing, going back to therapy, God always had my back. And my son ain't never needed for nothing. So I always figure it out, and I'm always blessed, highly favored. And I don't worry about what he do, because it ain't none of my business. We all got a judgment day one day. I know I'm going to heaven. But yeah, what are some challenges that you guys have had with trying to co-parent, or still having and struggle with co-parenting? You can always hit me up. I am open this month for co-parenting, and I have a special deal. I haven't announced it yet, but I have a special deal for my co-parenting program. For about 5 people, the first 5 people. I'm gonna probably announce it this weekend. It's my birthday special, so it's my birthday month. I'm gonna do something special for all my clients for this month. But until next time, Coach Mo out. Don't forget to like, share the video, and hit me up if you need parenting coaching, if you need assistance with being able to co-parent successfully and coexist in your child's life. Till next time, Coach Mo out.